It's not on yet. Let me stop this. So, it's going live. We on now? All right. Here we go. And welcome to the second Everything Yowie chat. Hopefully I've got everything up working. And firstly I want to mention about the Golden Thong Award winner of 2023, Dave. And this is my partner in crime, David Reed. And we hold the Golden Thong Award winner every year, but this year we've announced it. And the winner, I think he romped home with a few votes. And the winner is Stats. So anyone in the Yowie world knows about this guy's Stats. So he's been voted by his peers as being the biggest idiot in the Yowie world. So thumbs up to you, Stats, for getting the Golden Thong Award.
Oh dear. This all stems from doing research videos with people wearing thongs 30 miles in the bush.
Yeah, can I have that paperwork, please, babe, that you took? Sorry, my wife took a bit of paper that I've got all my stuff I want to talk about today. So you can see how we are, really organised here on everything. Yeah, we see, there it is here. All right. So, yeah, sorry, Dave. He's won the award. In the last 2 years, the Chaser won the award for his outstanding work in hiking in thongs and dribbling shit. So, anyways, that's pretty good. His first year in it, and he's won it. So anyway, Dave, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, mate, I got to spend a night out in the Yowie National Park on Tuesday night. And not far from a place called Snowball, which had, the first thing I found out about Snowball was an old Trove report of a young man having an encounter near Snowball. And about half of the article went on to say what a trustworthy, reputable young lad he was. But, that was my reasoning for going there. Lovely little campground. Just had it all to ourselves. I don't think many people go there, which was a bonus for me, because I often think the less frequented these places are, the better for the chances of getting an encounter. But anyway, nothing happened that night. I heard some. I was sitting around the fire. It was a very still night, and I heard some commotion to the left-hand side of me in the bush, which went on for about 15 minutes. And but I think at the end of it, it was just a wallaby or a kangaroo or something that was grazing around for a good while. But yeah, that was my night in the forest, and it's a lovely forest. It's very thick all the way to the coast. It's the campground we were at was about 30 kilometres out of Captain's Flat, heading east. Beautiful area, but I don't get out. Haven't been able to get out the last while because I've had a very ill wife, but for a couple of years actually. But I take the opportunity every time I get a chance to go.
What's the weather like? How cold is it down there, Dave? Because I know when we went down to Talagant. You there, Dave?
I get pretty warmer the closer you get to the coast. But I think the other night, Tuesday night, it went down. It was predicted to go down to about 6 degrees, and that'd be about right. I was foolish enough to leave the fly off the top of the tent, hoping to watch the stars through the mesh. And no rain forecast, but it showered during the night. So I woke up and I thought there couldn't be this much condensation in the tent. But
I seen that on your video when you said I'm not putting the cover on it, and I'm like, Big mistake. We went up to the Blue Mountains around the Lura area, and it was -4, and my car is red, and it was really white. Well, not as much as when we went to Barrington, but it was really white. So, yeah, it was a pretty big lot of ice on the car. So, I never believed the weather, man. So, anyway, the first thing I want to talk about, Dave, is Yowie Researchers saying that bent trees are done by Yowies. So, I know I've come across a few trees that I can't put my finger on what's happened, but there's some people that go out there and every tree that's bent, it's done by a Yowie, and it's just bullshit. What I do is I look at things like any bugs, any worms. Like you got the woodworms, you got the termites, any kind of insect infestation. Was there a really hot couple of days previous, or cold days, because that could dehydrate a tree? And then was there any like a big storm with strong winds, because that can always bend trees. But you can't go to an area and see bent trees and go, these are done by Yowies. Like, no one's seen a Yowie do that. So, I don't know why these people are saying that any bent tree they come along is done by a Yowie.
No, it's a bit like you throw it in the same lot is everybody thinking that every tree break is a tree break done by a Yowie. I learnt something the other day after a long time. Not after a long time, but I learnt something new, and that was a fellow saying about tree breaks that are a little bit narrower in, not as thick a diameter, and they're broken, and they're up at about 4 or 5 foot height, and it's pretty common. But apparently fallow deer with their antlers, when they're rubbing the velvet or whatever it is off their antlers on the tree, they've got the right tree they're doing it on. It, like on the antlers, goes around the tree, and turns its head and snaps the tree.
Ooh.
And I thought, I can visualise that. So, and there's a lot of deer out there, as you know.
Yeah. I'm
not saying everyone's done like that, but it's another one possibility, without jumping to the conclusion that it was done by a Yowie.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we've got to, these idiots, and I call them idiots because that's what they are, because they become admins of Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, groups, and they just say all these things are done by a Yowie, and they just make everyone look like a fool. And I never really thought about that one, Dave, so that's a good one to think about. But a lot of places I do go to, there's not, I know there's not deer there. Like in the Blue Mountains, if you go to most of the areas where you can get to by hiking off the Great Western Highway, there's no deer. There is probably sections that are way away from where anyone can get to. There's probably deer in there, as well as wild pigs and dogs and dingoes and everything else. But yeah, that's another thing that these idiots that don't even think about. And to be honest, I never thought about it. So I'll probably join them in that little idiot part there for a bit, because I never thought about deers doing that.
I only learned that recently, but unless you're a deer hunter, I suppose you wouldn't have that sort of knowledge anyway. Because it is an obscure fact, isn't it? He knew about it, but came up with a conclusion other than the Yowies.
Well, how tall would the biggest deer in Australia? How tall would they get? Like, to how tall you reckon they could do a break? You reckon they get it to about 6 foot? Easy, I reckon.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know much about deers. Deer, they had got a few of them around the area,
Mm.
but there used to be a problem on the Murrumbidgee River with wild goats, but they all seem to have disappeared up this end.
we,
So
I went out the other week with John from the Creepers Cryptid and Paranormal Corner channel on YouTube and Attila Caldi, and well, we got some heat signatures in this area, and a bloody whole herd of goats come out of the bush. So you can run into anything anytime. Like the last thing I thought about is running into a herd of goats, and when they took off and went across the trail and went into the bush, it didn't sound like anything that was like a big creature, and you could hear they were on 4 feet walking. So now that's something else that I've heard that I can keep in my memory banks to if I'm out there and I think I'm hearing something weird walking around, I could try to hope that I can remember what I heard there and use that to try and pinpoint what's walking around in the bush at the time. So we'll go to another one. IR light seen by
channel's David Rowan Reed, ROHAN. But I posted it up. Look, Dan, you know that I put some solid years, about 4 years, into putting out IR cameras. And to be honest with you, when I got started in this, I thought people are silly. This is an easy thing to solve. Go out there and put an IR camera out, and when they trigger it, you'll have a photo of them or a video. So that was in my mind at the beginning. But and I went out sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a week, travelled quite a few kilometres each time, the cost of fuel and everything else as I got around the area. And, and never got even close to, I got a couple of photographs that were a bit of an anomaly, and you'd wonder, oh, that makes you think. But no, they avoid the IR cameras, and I'm convinced of this. And yet they're attracted to sound recorders. So I don't know if they smell like plastic, the plastic smells, or whether they
I don't know. There could be something that the sound recorder gives off that attracts them. It might be some sort of noise that it's similar to what they're using, and they think it's another, Yowie, so they turn up. It could be anything. I don't know, because I know the trail cameras, because when I was at Marramara, I put a sound recorder on top of the trail camera, and the sound recorder could hear the winding of the trail camera to take a photo, but you can't hear it with your own ears. You can hear it whine and click. So can they hear that wind up and click of the photo getting taken? Because I had it set for maybe every 30 seconds to take a photo, and that was one thing that I come to find out that they actually make a noise. So different animals have got different levels of hearing, where dogs can hear noises better than us and smell better, and other animals. So that one's you're right.
Oh, I've got an up close photo of a fox that stuck its head in there to the trail camera.
Oh yeah.
And then I realised that the camera makes the faintest soft click when the IR activates. And I just noticed that the fox was looking directly in, 18 inches away from the camera, and was looking directly up into the lens, as if something attracted its attention to look.
That's a really good picture, that one that you got there.
Yeah, it's a very, very subtle thing. But my belief is these things are so finely attuned to their environment that any unusual noise would stand out to them. I've watched Rusty, the Rusty 222 from that YouTube channel. He for years put out cameras, and he was against IR, and he went to plot watchers.
Hmm.
So they took a photograph every second or something. But in the end, he'd end up with 250,000 images, and had to sort through those to find if there's anything out of all those images. But he diligently did it, and he's got some really interesting captures on his website, Far South Coast Hominid.org, I think.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. Could be wrong.
That's he's got some really good pictures, and you know, he had the CCTV zoomed into like a kilometre away for like a week or 2 or 3, just filming that one area in case something went through. And I actually went down to visit Rusty. It was probably 2017 or 16, and maybe a little bit earlier, maybe 15. So, and I helped him gather his gear up, and we carried 2 truck batteries each. So I had one on each hand, and like he went straight up the ridge. It wasn't too far off the top. I had to keep dropping mine because they're bloody heavy, and he just carried them like, you know, they're nothing. And truck batteries are bloody huge. So and I seen the gear. It's different to when you see it on a video, but when you see it when it's all set up and all the electrics inside, man, it's something from like Star Trek. Like there's so many lights flashing and that, and there was a lot of money there.
I think he actually put a figure of it of $50,000 he spent on equipment.
Oh, easy, because even like you don't see where the batteries in it are, and it's like a toolbox, aluminium one, and it's got straps on the back, and he puts it on his back like it's a backpack, and he goes walking up the ridge with that. Then he grabs the batteries and more batteries, and then he grabs all the plot watches and puts it in the back of his 4-wheel drive, and then he drives to his next section to then go and place him in another area where he goes. And I'm not sure if those areas got burnt out like after the 2019-2020 fires before COVID hit Australia. I'm not sure what happened there, because I wanted to go down to the Clyde Mountain near Bateman's Bay area and go and check it out, but I'm not sure, because there's a lot of old growth and massive trees there, and a lot of old growth forest where anything could be living.
Right.
But
Monga National Park's there at the top of the other side of Braidwood, before you go down the Clyde, and that's another really expansive area, and you know, all the way through to Mogo type of thing. It's lots of reports. There
was a question about the tree breaks. Rob Osborne, thanks Rob for asking this. He goes, he's heard about from a hunter some months back, and they use directional markers, and they do although these aren't thick stem trees, so they break them to show where they've gone when they come back. So yeah, they said hunters are using them, but probably just, you know, the really young trees they break so they can break them. They're not breaking something that's massively round like this. But when we were filming for the documentary track, and I've come across this at an area that I was recently made a few videos in it, in the Blue Mountains, where usually you come across areas with tree breaks, and they're all, you know, not all, but here and there, they're facing down the ridge. So the tree breaks goes down the ridge with gravity, but these ones are all pointing upwards, and they're all on the same level. So you can walk along the ridge and get 3/4 of the way up, and every 10-15 meters apart there's one tree broken and it's facing upwards. So if nature was doing it and there was bugs or some sort of worms eating out the wood, why would they all fall upwards and not gravity make it fall downwards? Because the bugs, not every tree's getting eaten away or weak at the same area. and they're falling down, and they're all going upwards. And I'm like, you don't see it in many places, and these are places where I've had encounters or got some really good sound recordings. So that's what gets me there. When I see trees that are broken and they're facing up the ridge, not down, and not gone with gravity, that's something that that I really take notice of. And that's when, if I come across these areas, I will then place some sound recorders there and hopefully see what's there. And then that's what leads me to, on occasions, to do nighttime hikes around that area, or actually camp in that area if I can get in there with all my gear, because some of these places are really hard to hike into when you haven't got 35 kilos in your back, because you've got to take your food, your water, all the equipment that you use to research, plus your clothes to get in there, clothes to sleep in with thermals, then you got all other different things that you use, plus your tent, your sleeping bag. You might take a blanket or something like that. It all adds up. So some places I've really wanted to research in, but I knew I just could not get in there. I'd have to do 2 or 3 trips, and you just don't do it. It takes you 2 hours to get in there. You'd be hiking all day, and by the time you want to do research, you're too tired. So that's one thing I was talking about. Anyway, we'll go to another one. We're talking about, we've seen some pics over the years where people have been showing pictures of old prints, and you can tell that they're old shoe prints that have been rained out. So it's actually, someone's walked along there, and there might be a sandy trail. It rains overnight, and 99% of the print of the shoe gets washed out, and someone comes along, takes a photo and says, look at this, it's a Yowie print, because when they get rained out they seem to get bigger, and you can see bits of the print. So if you're doing that, you're an idiot. Stop doing it because you got to really study these prints, and the best way to do it is, if you're going to go out and think old rained out prints of shoes are Yowie prints, look, get the best way to find any information from a print is take a cast, because so many times I've put casting material in prints and it's shown me a lot more than what you can see with your own eye.
Yeah, it's a bit like impressions. The thing that used to bug me was, I used to watch, I think it might have been J&J years ago, and he'd wander along through the bush, and I worked out what he was seeing. What he was seeing was bandicoot scratchings. And, where they've gone like that at the leaf litter, etc., they remove an area. And it's often the shape of a footprint.
Yep.
But it's a very common thing, I noticed it first at Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve, and I kept looking down and going, oh, it could be a footprint, but no, nothing clears away the debris into the shape of a footprint. Putting a foot down onto the leaf litter is not going to remove all the leaf litter underneath the foot. In the shape of a footprint, if you know what I mean. And it just bugged me a bit. Yeah,
like, honestly, when I first got into researching, I took photos of what I thought they were prints, but they were only lyrebirds. And I had one of the researchers, I won't say who it was, on the AYR forum, and he said, look, I don't want to, you can send me a personal message, and he said, look, I don't want to say you're doing anything bad, but you got to remember there's a lot of birds out there that make these, and it looks like a bird, a lyrebird's gone there and scratched, because they scratch. What they do, they scratch, and then they'll work their way back, and it makes that kind of shape like a foot, and that's what I thought it was. And then I went, no, thanks for letting me know, and I took his advice, and when I went out, I was seen a lyrebird, and I watched it scratching and went, shit, it is. Because when I went up to there, I took a photo and I matched it up, and I went, this looks the same as what I saw back a couple of weeks prior. And these are the things that you got to do when you're out there to try and work out what it is, not just to go to the conclusion it's a Yowie. If you do that, you're an idiot.
I didn't work it out, Dan, until I saw the bandicoot. I've got a video of him,
Hmm.
and I didn't mention that they look like footprints at the time, but you can see they are on the video. So yeah, that's when I realised no, just because the leaf litter is missing, like a walking action of a foot, it's not going to remove the leaf litter in the shape of a foot.
Hmm.
But yeah, anyway, that was just
No, well, you get a lot of there's a lot of animals that will chew trees. Like you got birds, a lot of parrots, like the black cockatoos, and that they use it to sharpen their beaks and then actually they use it to. It's like cutting your nails for them, and they might know they know when there's bugs in there, so they'll chew them. And you'll see the parts of the bark drop down in chunks, and you notice the signs when the birds are there. Because I've actually been there when I've seen the birds been chewing the trees, and when you've walked along, they've flown away because you've scared them. And I've gone up there and looked at them, and went, yeah, that's exactly what I saw prior to this. And now I know for sure because I've seen the birds there and the bits of wood on the bottom. So these are the things that you got to do. Not just go up there and go, look at this, looks like something's taken a big chunk out of it. It must be a yowie. Like, why is a yowie going to chew on a tree?
Although Neil Frost in the Blue Mountains years ago, he found what he reckoned were tree bites, and I went to his house. Oh, this is probably 10 years ago, and he'd cut off the branch above and below the bite.
Yeah.
So he had something to physically show.
Mm-hmm.
And when you looked at it, you could see the two canine marks going through the wood, as if, it was like literally was a bite out of the tree.
Well, his area was really active, and it had fat foot, was it? They called it fat foot?
Yeah, fat foot.
Fat foot, yeah. So it was really active in the 1990s. Unfortunately...
Yeah, it came right up to his backyard was just a valley. It was his backyard.
Yeah, I've been to his place, and I can...
come up to his house.
I'll tell you another story. I know someone that was in a party not far from Neil's, and he was talking to one of the guys that lived at this place, because he went there was through a friend. So it was a friend of a friend's party. He just asked him, he goes, do you guys, see yowies? And the guy goes, oh yeah. He goes, we drink the goon bags, we drink them, and we chuck the goon bags down in the valley, and they grab them and run through the bush with them, and then you hear them go bang, and they pop them. So one day I might get a trail camera or something, set it up, and tie a goon bag to a tree in the middle of a valley and see if something turns up to grab it. So
Good luck with that, mate. Good luck with that. But you never go, you never know, do you?
No. The next thing I want to talk about is some people have suggested that yowies nest in trees. I know the biggest ape that's known to rest in a tree is an orangutan, and they get to 130 kilos. So when people are talking about yowies and they're suggesting them at that 250 to 400 kilos, I don't think that doesn't matter how big the tree is, I don't think they're going to be resting in trees. I think they're just too big.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe they climb trees to get eggs, or possums, or...
Well, but that's different. Climbing a tree to get eggs, or grabbing a possum out, but to, sleep in there?
Like living
sleep.
In the tree.
Make a nest in the tree and sleep in it. Well, you can look at the gorillas. They just make a nest in the long grass, and it looks like a big, it looks like a crop circle shape, and they just rest in that. That's what the gorillas do, because they're too big, and then they don't climb trees. All they do is, walk on the ground. So, I've taken notice of looking up in the trees a lot, but if you're a yowie, I wouldn't be taking my chances going up a gum tree. Them things are falling down all the time. You just got to walk off trail and see how many parts of gum trees are falling down. I don't think they're a tree to be making a nest in when you're 250, 300 kilos plus. So, And
It's a bit like if you're in a building. If you're in a building and you're trying to get away, you don't go up.
mm.
You know?
Exactly. All right, what else we got? So, look, I've still noticed this since our last chat. People posting pictures of yowies that are just shadows in the bush.
I saw one the other day. It was just a stump.
Yeah, it was a stump, and
It was a tree. A tree had broken off. The tree's actually laying next to the stump, and it's on the edge of a creek. And it doesn't even have the shape of anything. It's just a tree stump.
It's a tree stump with part of the root system going up in the air. Yeah, well, they're idiots. But yeah, there's still people posting pictures of yowies, and they're always up in the trees. But when you look at the foliage around it and how big these trees are and these plants are, they wouldn't even hold you and me up. So how could a big yowie be up in a tree looking at you? And these people consistently see them. Load of bullshit, mate. They're just idiots. And anyway, next one. Well, we talked about the lyrebird scratchings. I've started a Facebook group called the Yowie Forum, and it's all written in flames. And it's got no rules, mate. You can say whatever you want in it. I don't really care what you say. It's got about 30 members in there. And if you want to have a say and have a rant, it's wide open. It's there to have a rant. This is not one of these ones where Dave's an admin, says Kurt and another guy Roger, and it's pretty much for people to have their say about anything and not get booted or told off on there. And look, if you don't like what's said in that group, you don't have to be in there. It's a free country. So it's not this little nicey group. It's like, if someone's going to post shit, we're going to put it up there and we're going to fucking knock it down. So I'm just basically, like we said in the last video, just had enough of all the bullshit that people put in these groups and continually keep putting in there, and all these keyboard warriors keep on saying, oh, what a great pick. Like, it's a freaking tree stump that's fallen over, like Dave just said, and they're saying it's a great pick.
It's obvious. Yeah, but it's obvious.
It's obvious. Are these people just like saying it to try and G this person up, like, and make him feel happy about himself? Like, really? Like,
I think it boils down to I want to believe. People sort of, if you understand what I mean, they want to believe. They don't have the first-hand experience of an encounter, but they're intelligent enough to look at the evidence and realise there's 99% probably there. But they want to believe, so they look at any pareidolia, and if it looks like it's got eyes, a nose, and a mouth in the foliage, they want to believe that's what it is. If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In some cases, pareidolia might not be pareidolia. I'm aware of that too. But, if you're looking for conclusive proof, like, it's even different. These people aren't saying, I saw the yowie and I took a photo and here's what it is. They're not. And I really do believe they're going out taking random photos of the bush, sitting in their computer at night with a cup of coffee and finding pareidolia.
And going, oh, this one looks like it's a yowie. I'll put it up there and say, oh, look at this. I filmed this. But, it's just crazy.
Then people in the community want to be supportive. So they want to say, oh, that's a great picture, But I had to leave because I was making smart-ass comments like, oh yeah, there's 3 of them there, and the female, is, and there's two little ones,
but the people being supportive, that it's wrong. Like, speak your opinion, speak your mind. Don't try to be supportive and give someone that's taken photos of fucking shadows, saying, "Oh yeah, wow, what a great pick," when it's not. And all these people that are supportive are just sitting here like keyboard warriors, and they're like, they don't go out in the bush. Because when people actually, I've had friends, and they've said, "Oh, when I said I, go out and do Yowie research and all that," and I don't hide it. Everyone knows about it for a couple of years now. And then they bag you a bit and laugh, and then I've had phone calls. "Oh, I've got a friend. They've had a Yowie encounter. I'll put them on the phone to you." And I'm like, "Well, you bag him in. Now you want to talk to someone on the phone." And I'm quite happy to do it and have a laugh. And then I say to them, "Hey, I want to take you out to an area that we've had, we've got done research, and we've had some really great findings and had some really good sound recordings. I want to take you out there. Like, these things are running around in the bush." "Oh, no, I don't want to go out." I'm like, "What? You're scared? If these things are not supposed to be real, why won't you come out? We're not going to go camping. We'll just go up for the night. We'll just do a bit of a night hike." And they just back off like that. So I'm like, if you don't believe, you would go, "All right, no worries, just plan a date and let's go." But they all back off. So that's one thing that I wanted to say. John, who's on the Creepers, Cryptid and Paranormal Corner, look, we've got to get to the bottom of this. You got it wrong, John. I'm not the hiking thong king. This guy sitting right next to me, he's he's like Mr. Miyagi of the thong world. He can do anything with them. If you go hiking with Dave and you hurt yourself, he's like Mr. Miyagi, but he'll slap the thongs together and go like this and put the thongs on you and heal your wound. That's how good he is with thongs. Like, he was the first one to hike in thongs, and he taught me. So, he's like Mr. Miyagi. You're like the Zen master of thong hikers.
Yeah, no, mate, I like a solid pair of boots around my feet when I go out in the bush. The thought of wearing thongs, I know you do around the campsite, but I really can't see you flogging along through with your gaiters on and wearing thongs.
No, well, I wear gaiters. I put socks on. They stop snake bite. So socks and thongs, mate. That's your gaiters.
Yeah,
So yeah. So
I'll have to send you a pair of my signature hiking thongs.
yeah. So, and everyone, Dave's got the signature series. It's signature. It's got David Reed's signature on it. So if you want to buy him, just go to his channel, and he'll be selling them very soon. They're not going to be cheap. They're going to be numbered. So if you get like closer to number one, they're worth more money. So probably, Dave, you'll probably find people buying the thongs and not taking them out of the packet. So it'll be worth more money in time.
Oh yeah, of course. Like any artist, mate, it'll be when I'm dead they'll be worth money.
I might buy a few pairs.
Well, you reckon I'm not too far off it?
I'm not saying anything. I just want to buy a few pairs. You never know. You never know. It might get me to buy some more Yowie equipment. I don't know. No, I think you've got a few more years left in you. Well, but we'll have to plan another. I didn't mind that area that you went to with Vlad, and he went down in the cave.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing cave. It goes for 150 metres along into the mountain, and then you come to a gate. They've welded a gate in there because it's too dangerous to get lost.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's the longest cave system in the area or whatever.
Oh. So I thought they would have it fenced off or something, because they had it later going in there and Vlad went down.
Yeah, he went down and had his phone camera light.
Yeah, his phone camera light on. I suppose it'd work now. We would have to.
I went to the bottom of the ladder and then realised I had to slide down on my bum to get to the next level to go. It's a strange looking cave.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's got me. Makes me wonder how they found it. The opening's only big enough for one person to go down.
Okay, so how far was that from from Canberra? Is it like south or west from Canberra?
There's a little town called Captain's Flat.
Yeah.
on the other side of Queanbeyan. It's about 35 kilometres away from Captain's Flat.
Okay.
But, it's the road less travelled, if you know what I mean.
Oh, so two-wheel drive can get there, or is it all four-wheel drive only?
Oh, two-wheel drive.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, the roads had just been graded. It was a wonderful drive.
I might have to plan a time to go down there. Wouldn't mind coming down there with you. It looks like it's a nice area.
Oh, beautiful area, mate. Beautiful. And so many sightings, and a black cat sighting too.
Would it be a busy area when it's like springtime, or is it just no one there because it's winter?
Probably no one there because it's winter. But even so, I couldn't see it being all that busy. Only the locals that know it.
All right.
So
we'll have to plan a date. Probably.
Anyway, yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't mind coming back down. Yeah. Just thanks everyone for coming on here today. Didn't have a big as rant as last time. The last one was a big rant for me. I'm still learning all this program. It's a bit easy now that I've got things all set up, but just to get it live and go aid in his Believe podcast. Anything you want to talk about, Dave, before we go?
No, not at all, mate. I just think we should sign off with what you always sign off with.
Before I sign off, just once again, Dave, give your YouTube channel a bit of a plug.
It's just my name, David Rowan Reid. That's Rohan. Yeah, and I think I'm the only one using that name, so I should turn up in a search. But yeah, I'm going to put up a few eclectic videos along the way. Yeah.
No, they're good to
subscribe if you'd like.
It's good to listen to, because I listened to your last one and it's just you just nice and easy talk, and I did like your talk when you were in the tent and you said I'm not going to put the cover on, and I'm thinking that's a big mistake. So you found that out. So you're still learning, see, and you just had a chat about things.
My thoughts were it has 4 panels at the top of mesh. And you can actually see through it when you're laying down. And then I thought it was the tent's about 7 foot tall. It's above my head. And I thought, now, an 8 or 9 foot Yowie would stand next to the tent and look down, look in through the top, and I'd be able to see him.
Yeah, you can take a photo.
That was my thinking.
So... But you would have been asleep, and he would look in when you're asleep, and then you wouldn't see him. And then instead, you got wet.
Yeah, I got wet.
And you thought, gee, it was a lot of dew.
I didn't get all that wet. It didn't wake me up. So it was only a light shower. But I was surprised that there was water on the tent floor in the morning. I thought there couldn't be that much condensation, surely.
Mate, I'm telling you now, when we're up at the Blue Mountains, it was -4, and that's why I wrote "it's cold" and put my hand in the back of the window. It was probably nearly a centimetre thick, and that's a lot. But you don't get much ice on windows, like if you're not in places like Canberra.
It's every morning for me. You got to scrape the ice off the window before you go to work, and you see all these public servants racing to work late, and they've left the car out overnight, and they're trying to demist and look through the bottom bit where it's demisted on the window, and some really dangerous morning drivers in Canberra.
Do you you know what you should do? You could sell your signature series thongs as ice scrapers, and they can be scraping the ice off with their thongs.
Oh, yeah. What can't thongs do?
Thongs can't do it. Thongs can do everything. Thongs are everything. Like this. It's like you don't need a snake bite kit. You just get the thong and wrap it around with a snake bite. So, anyway, before we go, I'll plug the Yowie forum. If you want to join the Yowie forum, get on there. If you want to have a rant, you want to go off about something, please do. That's what it's there for. And Dave, I think you should end it tonight with the saying.
I will.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Always hike in thong.